DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Topic here is everything's a competition. Now, of course, from a sports background, we know that you're in competition when you're playing that sport. And playing basketball, and I talked about this in the video where I was talking about the YouTube Hoopers thing, but when I first started playing, I'm playing pickup in the playground. Actually, before pickup, I'd be working on my game, and the older guys would say, yeah, it's cool that you're practicing. We see you out here practicing all the time, young boy. And that's how we talk in Philly, where I'm from. But when you gonna play in some pickup games and do something in the pickup game? So eventually, I played in the pickup games, and they would say, all right, well, now do something in there, because there was an indoor gym right next to the outdoor court. So they like, do something under the whistle, which is a game with referees and scoreboards and coaches. Do something in that game. And eventually I did that. Then they said, all right, play for your school, do that. And each level, I was looking at, it wasn't even so much I was trying to prove something to the people who were saying it. I was trying to beat out the people who I had been competing with at the previous level. So for example, when I first started playing pickup basketball, when I first actually started getting picked up for the games on a regular basis, I'm looking at the other guys who are playing there. I'm like, how can I be better than these guys? How can I prove that I'm better? And we know that if you just start arguing with somebody and saying that you're better, they think they're better. Y'all can go back and forth forever, and there's never gonna be a conclusion, because they can have a good game, you can have a good game, they can make a shot, you can make a shot. So my way of beating them was to, all right, let me graduate from playing on the B court to the A court. That's how, in the park that I'm from, was 2 full courts. You had B court and A court was the best players. I started out on B, I graduated to A court. All right, so now I'm better than everybody on B court because now I graduated to A court. Then I started playing under the whistle with referees and official games. It was rec league games, but still official games. Now, okay, now I'm better than these guys who still playing outside, but they never played official. Then I played for my school. And people said, well, it took me 3 years to make my high school team. 4 years, actually. My 4th year, I made it. And it was, all right, now I'm better than the dudes who never made the team at high school. Because some cats would talk shit. And we'd be in gym class talking basketball. And some people would say, well, you tried out, you didn't make the team. When I finally made it, now I'm better than them. So now I could just cross them off the list. So every time I moved up a level, I was crossing somebody off the list. When I played in college, everybody who I played with in high school who didn't play college ball, crossed them off. Now when I'm in college, it's players who kind of think they're good, whether they were on my team or on the other teams that we would play against. Now, how can I prove that I'm better than these guys? Because 20 years from now, when none of us play anymore, we're arguing about who was better. They could say they did this, I could say this, they can name their stats, I can name my stats, we got different highlights. How do I win that argument? You really can't win that because everybody kind of went to the same level, so I had to go to the next level. So that was really one of my main motivations, was get to that next level so that everybody at the previous level, I beat them. Like, they're no longer competition to me. And it's always another level that you can go to and I'm using sports as an example, but in any level of performance, understand that competition is always existing. And that's, for me, that was the driver of my discipline. And discipline being the main thing that I focus on these days. I talk about all these elements of the mental game: competition, confidence, mental toughness, personal initiative. But all of them are rooted in discipline. The foundation of all of that is being disciplined, which means, for example, in the competition thing, when you're practicing, any of you who's an athlete, in the off season, you're doing the same workouts, the same warm up, same cool down, a lot of the same drills, working on the same moves or doing the same whatever. In any sport that you play, the regular things you got to do. Same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. That shit gets boring. The same thing over and over again. You can't even YouTube it every time. It's the same thing. How many times you gonna YouTube the same thing? Or Instagram the exact same thing? There's only so many different angles you can shoot the same move from. So how do you stay mentally locked in? How do you stay focused? You might be working out with the same people, with the same trainer. If you work out by yourself, again, there's only so much fanfare you can bring to that when it's the same thing over and over again. What's going to get you focused and locked in to keep showing up and doing your thing? For me, the discipline was one of the things that supplied the discipline, was me knowing that I'm in a competition. Was me knowing that, okay, I need to do these workouts for the next 3 months before the next season starts, because next season, these players who thought I could only do this, now I'm gonna add this to my game. Now I'm gonna have this and this in my bag. So now when they play me like I'm still that player from last year, I'm gonna have these things, so now I can beat them. Now, when I get to this, or I'm gonna work out for this, whatever, until I sign this contract and play overseas, because that's gonna allow me to prove that I was better than these dudes who I played against in college who thought they were better than me. So all of these things, the competition that I was thinking about in my mind, allowed me to be more disciplined. It supplied the discipline. It was like the motivation to be disciplined, if you want to call it that. And I'm just sharing that I'm just throwing that out there as something that maybe can work for you. Maybe you're not a person who's super competitive like that. Everybody doesn't think the way that I think when it comes to that, like always trying to beat somebody or one up somebody or have it in your mind or have it on paper where you could say to a person like, yo, you can't say shit to me because I did this and you only did this. So I think like that, and I know some of you think like that, but everybody doesn't think like that. So I try to give you different angles on where you can get that discipline from, because discipline is not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy because a lot of times it's boring. A lot of times it's the same thing over and over again. People like stimulation. Look at where you at right now. What website you on right now? We like stimulation. We like different things. We like something new and fresh and exciting, shiny new objects. But discipline isn't any of that. So where can you get it from? How can you make yourself have it? So this is one way. If you happen to be a competitive individual, using the fact that this will help you beat out somebody else. And the fact is, a lot of people are competitive, but a lot of competitive people have no discipline. That's the other part of this. I know a lot of people who are competitive. You get them in a game, and we'll use basketball, get them in a game and y'all playing against each other, they'll be talking just as much shit. They'll be going back and forth. They'll be trying to score on you, trying to stop you, and they're all in when it comes to the live game. Any player has trouble getting excited for the game. If you do, you probably shouldn't be playing that sport. But what about practice? A lot of players don't get excited for practice. I'm talking team practice, but also the individual practice. The time that you spend making yourself a better player, so when you get into team practice, you can show a little bit more than you showed last season. That individual stuff, or just continuing to work on your game so your game stays sharp year over year over year, or working on your game when you don't even know when your next opportunity is going to be to play in the game. And I went through a lot of that. Do you have the discipline to keep showing up and doing your thing? While again, you get 300 basketball players in the gym, I might be, look, you could put me in a gym with 300 players, I might be right in the middle in terms of skill. It could be 150 guys, let's say 301 players, 150 guys better than me and 150 guys worse than me. But if you say, all right, all you players in here over the next 5 years, we're gonna measure your improvement in the game, how much better you get, how much you can stay in shape, and all of that over the next 5 years. We're just gonna randomly reach out to you and test you and see where you at and see where your game's at. Not just at one point, but all through the next 5 years over and over again, I can win that competition. Because I know I can show up every day. I know I can do the work every day. I know I can make myself get better. I know I can do that better than anybody in there. Now, while I can't always control the talent, can't always control the opportunities, you can't always control what raw materials you work with versus what somebody else has, you can always control whether you're disciplined enough to keep showing up and doing the work. Now you may ask, well, Dre, that competition doesn't happen. No, that's never happened in life. Nobody ever really did that. There's no prize for that. What do you gain from showing up every day and doing that work when you know that the only thing that matters is that one measuring point, which is the game or the tryout or the season or whatever it is that you might only get one opportunity to show the stuff that you've been doing for the last year. You might only get one chance, a 40-minute game, 48-minute game, a 2-hour tryout, whatever it is. Is that enough? Knowing that 2 hours of competition is all you get, is that enough to keep you disciplined for a whole year straight? That's a question that I can't answer for you. It's a question you got to answer for yourself. But that's a question I can answer for me. It was hell yes, that worked for me. Because I knew that was my specialty, that I could do this thing better. It was nobody who was going to beat me at that. And that's why when I use the example that I use, from my neighborhood to high school to college, everybody who I played with, I outlasted them all because I knew I could be more disciplined than them. Some of them had more talent. Some of them started playing earlier. Some of them had more games. Some of them performed better than me at each level, but none of them outlasted me because I knew this was my special sauce, was that discipline of doing it every time, every day, consistently. You got to find out what yours is, but I guarantee you, whatever it is, you better have something that contributes to that discipline, because if you ain't got the discipline, there's only so far you're going to go. Time's going to catch up to you. And a person like me, who got my mentality, whatever level of talent, they're going to pass you up. And you can't say you don't know why it happened. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.